Hey, good morning. It's 5 a.m. Mester Scrum Show. I hope you're doing well today. I slept in today because the Phillies won. So I got to wear the hat today because I wore it yesterday. So I'm going to wear the Phillies hat again today to cheer on my team. I guess it's superstition. Anyway, but we're not here to talk about baseball. Sometimes we do talk sports, right? It's 5 a.m. Mester Scrum Show. I am Greg Mester, Scrum Master and Agile Coach. And today I wanted to talk about, I was listening to the Scrum Master Toolbox podcast episode because I'm waiting for him to put our trading podcast sessions on his show, but he hasn't done it yet. But I know he's out gallivanting around someplace warm out there in Europe. But they were talking about one gentleman was our coach or something. He was talking about how he wanted to transfer the management of the organization, as well as just, why don't you just take care of the teams? So it was interesting, but it triggered a conversation where I was I don't know what job title. Oh, by the way, I'm going to put the job postings up on the board since we did our show last night. So I'm scrolling on the bottom of the board, the screen, the postings from yesterday for the jobs. I'll go through them all. So right now the U.S. jobs are posting up. Anyway, it's long story short. Let's get this going here. So he asked me I had this executive VP. It reminded me back then when I was a Scrum Master / project manager / Agile coach / transforming how they did business. And the executive said, where are you? Why aren't you here at Daily Scrum? And I'm going to tell you how I made it so that the team created a self-organizing Daily Scrum that they did themselves and how I did it. And there's certain things you do. It's not a secret, but some people think it is. And I was very transparent how I did it and how it worked. And I'll go through that today. So today's 5 a.m. Mester Scrum Show, where we talk about Scrum and Agile in a very practical and tactical way. Today, I'm going to talk about practical and tactical about how to build a self-organizing daily Scrum. We always talk about the team, but we don't talk about the events. So I want to talk about the events today and how to make that happen. And we do this why? So we can bring value to customers. So the team can just move on their own. They don't have to wait for people to tell them what to do. When they do that, they produce a lot more work. Oh my gosh. And so we don't have to work crazy hours because everyone's independent. We're just helping them along. It's great. It's a great gig if you can do it and figure out how to make it work the right way instead of killing yourself every night doing stuff that I see people do. Try to help them sometimes. And so we get home to family and friends so we can watch the Phillies win. Hope twice. Knock on wood. So, and Ranufa, hey, how are you? Good morning. So, and you're on Facebook. Cool. Thanks for joining us. And I will get in contact with you at some point, by the way, just not right now. The whole idea, what is this? So when I design my Scrum teams, when I facilitate, when I create these teams, my goal is to build self-organizing teams. Part of that goal, and my little trick to the trade, is I build self-organizing Scrum daily Scrums. How do I do that? And some people say, well, you just tell them. They're just going to run it. It's supposed to just happen naturally. And it's a waving into one, like a little tooth fairy or somebody like that. No, that's not how it works. It could work that way, but usually it doesn't. What I do is I explain to the team that I am the Scrum Master for. My goal is to design a daily Scrum where they can run it themselves. I don't need to be there. Anyone on the team can start the meeting off in a rock and roll and be done in a very quick fashion. And I tell them in the beginning, and I go over that as part of the introductions of Scrum, how we do this, how it's set up, what it would be like. And when I do it, it works. It works every time. Every time when I coach Scrum Masters to let go of this ego to run this daily Scrum, it happens pretty good. And by the way, the teams they start producing things faster and they get quicker. And I don't have to do squat. because they're self-organizing and they know how to solve problems. They're not dumb people. So this executive VP, so I had created a team and I was purposefully not showing up to daily scrum. I would let somebody know, hey, I'm not going to make it today, because I would design everything to allow that to happen. I designed a chat. So I would chat in the morning, like if I was going to be stuck in traffic and I got to go to the office today and drive that dreaded Screwcle today, I would chat that, hey, I'm not going to make daily scrum today, just to set it up. So everyone knows if you can't make it, you chat. I design it so they see how that works. I also design the meetings in such a way, and people are like, oh, why do you do it in such a rigorous way? Because that allows it to happen freely. When I have my tracking system, Jira, Azure, Rally, version 1, Trello, whatever, I always design my boards so that it goes by person. And then I do things by story in the end, but that's my thing. So every once in a while, I make sure I showed up. But this way, everyone knew who the first person listed. And even when we didn't have that, I had rooms where we had a list of people, because we had people all around the country, all around the world in these teams. It was just a list of names. We all decided who it was usually alphabetical order. It's the easiest thing to do. Don't overthink it. Just do it. Just alphabetical order. And everyone knows who's on the list, and you write their names down in an order from which they talk. Because if you try to get creative with dev and test and this and that and roles, and it gets screwed up. I always, as Scrum Master, told the Scrum Master, don't say anything until the end of the daily Scrum. Let the Scrum team do their thing. And if you want to add something in, you do it at the end. So see how I'm designing this? I'm designing a communication system. So if someone can't be there or they want to share what they did, they can do it in a, forget what it's called. It's called something. But anyway, in a through a chat bot, right? Or a chat. God, what is it called? It's so bad. This is why I'm not one of those book-based. Oh, by the way, I'm sharing now the EU job report from last night. Probably should just stick with one. Do them all. Right, 8 o'clock show. So we got that where I set that up, got someone there, and I set up the order speaking. Then I over if you're not independent out of this in 30 days, you're doing something wrong. You want the team to feel self-organizing. And I don't want to talk about why I do this. So here's the steps. I set up a system where anybody can chat when not being there. We always do it at the same time, by the way, because that way no one has to think about it. No one has to, where are you? Why aren't you at Daily Scrum? No, Daily Scrum is at the same time every day, 5 days a week, except for the beginning of the sprint and sometimes the end of the sprint. But otherwise, so 8 days a week, there's always a daily scrum at the same time every day. So there's no thinking involved. It just happens. It's self-organized. Everyone knows that this is what you need to do, right? Whether talking to Scrum Master others, I always phrase it as all the value add you can bring. If you aren't doing this, then it isn't making anyone wrong. It is leveling people up. Thanks, Paula. That was good. Perfect. So they have all that set up. They go and do their thing. They have their daily scrum. And over 30 days, encourage them. I go, that's perfect. That's exactly sharing your things. Or types of conversation. I do a little coaching during that and say, that was great. Hello. We got a couple people joining in today. Dominaire, I think it's Dominaire. Okay, good morning. But this is what you do. You share that with people and they figure it out. Now, what I created was, now I don't have to be there. What I see the mistake is so many Scrum Masters lead the conversation. Greg, Jane, Bob, Sally, you talk next. No, that doesn't happen. No one should have to call anybody out. They just need to say who's next. Greg, you're next. Paula, you're next. So the person who's running it lets the next person, I'm done. Greg, you're next. And they just go through that list. It's not a thinking. It's like, who hasn't talked yet? None of those questions are there. Everyone knows the order. So it's if you're there, you know who's in front of you, you know who's behind you. It's very simple, very elementary. So now we set up this organization where I don't have to talk at all as a Scrum Master. But here's where that executive VP came in. The executive VP said, well, why weren't you there? You should be there all the time. You should be telling them what to do. I'm like, no, I shouldn't. I'm building a self-organizing team. And this is where middle management doesn't understand. I'm going to do another show tomorrow and talk about middle management based on what I heard of the Scrum Master Toolbox and share my stories about middle management and transformation. But today, I just want to talk about this Daily Scrum. So I created a situation where the team learned in this little tiny 15-minute meeting, and by the way, none of them were over more than 8 minutes, that they could manage themselves. They could do it without somebody telling them to do something as minor as running a daily scrum. Here we go, Paula. What about walking the board from right to left? Why? That focuses the team on flow and emphasize start to finish, stop thing. Now, that would be part of the operations of the daily scrum. So in 30 days, think about this. If you're in a month and you're doing something 30 times. So if you think that would work going from right to left, you have each person go from right to left on the board. And when they say right to left, from getting things done to starting stuff up. How are you moving stuff that you're working on that are, let's say, almost ready to be done to that position? Maybe during the daily scrum, the person's like, hey, I'll be done this story today, and I really would like to meet with the product owner and kind of go over it and see if it meets what they want and get that feedback loop later this afternoon. Product owner, will you be around to do it? So these are the questions. And I would kind of recite these scenarios as we go through that 30-day process, so people would see different examples of conversation that they would have during daily scrum. It doesn't take them more than 30 days to do this. 1 month, right? 1 month, you should be able to have this where the team knows what questions to ask, what information to show, what kind of patterns you might want to do if you want to do from right to left, if that's the pattern you want, or left or right. It depends. You can change it up. Whatever works for the team and they can comprehend, let them do it. If you figure later on, let's start going from right to left to even quick it up, maybe in another month you change it up, saying, okay, here's a thought I had for doing daily scrum, doing from right to left. Say I heard a story when you go from right to left, it actually helps you figure out how to get stuff to more to done and share that with the team. So like I said in the beginning, I got 13 minutes here. I'm almost full 15 minutes. It's pretty long. But I'm going to explain, I'm just explaining in the daily scrum, you're very open, visual, and honest, transparent in what your goal is. My goal is to get it where the team is self-organizing and running the daily scrum themselves. Not that I'm not going to be there. I'm going to be there. I'm going to be listening and observing, see what gets talked, what doesn't get talked. There's a lot of things a Scrum Master can do besides calling out people's name during a daily scrum. If that's what you think your job is as a Scrum Master, you need to level up. You need to get with the ball game here, right? That's not your job. Your job is to make sure people are communicating, not what order they do and who's next in the daily scrum. So that's that mentality from that line manager where they had to tell everyone what to do. And you as a Scrum Master have to break that ego and not have to tell everyone who's next on the list to talk. Geez, that's the easiest thing. And if you can get past that, don't become a Scrum Master. Your goal, but you have to tell your team why you're doing it, that you want them to be self-organizing. You want them to organize the daily scrum. I'm just here to help give some thoughts, observations. If I see anything that may help, I will help mention it at the end of the daily scrum. Or if there's things that are happening around the team that I think the team should know, I'll mention it at the end of the daily scrum. But I'm going to let you all do your thing, and then I'll just come at the end. So you let them organize the way you want to do. So there you go. Thanks, Paula. So that is how I do it in 30 days. And that's how they run it. And And now it's 15 minutes. We're down the daily scrum. So with that, I want to say, have a great day. Let me know how your daily scrums go. See if you observe yourself talking the entire 15 minutes or hour, which is way too long. And I wish you all a great day. Go Phils. And we will see you tomorrow. Bye.